Hey guys, it's Mandy. You know I love Hand and Stone Massage and Facial Spa in Tyler, and one of the things I love the most is they're always doing new things. And I recently tried their new sports massage, and I've got to tell you, it's incredible. So you know I'm active and I'm always focused on wellness, and this is just one more thing that I am adding in to my routine because now I'm hooked. They use the Theragun, which of course is going to help increase blood flow to certain areas and muscles that might be sore or tired or need attention, but you also get to add on another upgrade. You know, whenever I was there, I chose to go ahead and do the cup gliding as well as the hot stones. They work really well with the Theragun, maybe like a triple threat. Definitely ask for it the next time you go in to Hand and Stone. Ask about the sports massage. You can book your appointment today online at handandstonetyler.com, or you can stop by and see them. They're located in South Tyler in the Cumberland Shopping Center. Welcome to the Celebrating Women podcast, hosted by Mandee Montana, a podcast that celebrates women, their stories, their struggles, and ability to overcome. Conversations that celebrate their gifts, their talents, and courage. It's the Celebrating Women podcast, presented by Hand and Stone Massage and Facial Spa in Tyler, Texas. With over 20 massage therapists and 6 estheticians, certified and trained in multiple protocols, you can get an affordable massage or facial located right here in the East Texas area. Book your appointment today. Stop by the spa in the Cumberland Shopping Center in Tyler or online at handandstonetyler.com. Celebrating Women podcast. I'm Mandee Montana, and I have a very special guest today, my friend Staci Rotello. Staci, how would you introduce yourself?
Oh my goodness. First of all, thank you so much. I'm so excited to be part of this on this podcast. So I would introduce myself as first and foremost, obviously I'm a child of God, right? We all are. But I am a mom to a boy who we homeschool, Clay. I'm a boy mom, and then I'm a rancher farmer wife as well. I'm a former kindergarten teacher. So I'm honestly, girl, I'm still a kindergarten teacher at heart. And I mean that. Like I know we're going to get into what I do now, but I'm still a kindergarten teacher at heart. I love teaching people. That's who I am. There's nothing really too special about me. And now I'm full-time Singular. I have been now for 6 years. So, I mean, I guess I'm a little bit of everything. You know, I run the household, mama, wife, homeschool, business, friends, all of it, just trying to juggle it all.
Well, that's part of why I wanted to talk to you today, Staci, because I find that you juggle everything really, really well. You're someone that I admire because you find balance in things where other people struggle. I think this is one of your unique giftings. And I wanted to talk a little bit with you about how you do it, because working from home, whether you're a remote worker working for another company, or if you're like a solopreneur like you that's building a team in network marketing, can be challenging because there's lots of distractions. And you're homeschooling too. So, I mean, you're like shifting gears a lot throughout the day, I would imagine. How do you set yourself up for success first thing in the morning?
So first thing in the morning, I have to have my devotional time. That is something that, Mandee, I have struggled with, but I have really honestly made it a priority. And I find that whenever I make that priority, everything else in my day just goes smoother. You know, you just started out on the right foot. So I do. I have a little bit of quiet time, and then I do some sort of physical activity. I have to. I mean, whether that's, I just recently joined HotWorks actually last Monday, and I love it. It has actually given me a reason to get out of the house, you know, because sometimes the walls can close in on us.
Yes.
Out of the house and go, even though I have a, workout thing here in my house, like weights and treadmill and stuff like that. But so I do some sort of physical activity, whether that's to go to HotWorks that day, or me and my little mini Aussie Deets, we go walking because, we live on land. And so we'll just go walking, and guess what? I listen to podcasts. I really try to start my day with positivity. That is key, I will tell you, because otherwise, girl, the next thing you know, you look up and it feels like your day is running you and you're not running it. And so that has really, really helped me. So I'm going to always start my day with the word and some sort of physical activity, which does, guess what? That produces endorphins, right? So mental health there, and then some sort of positivity podcast and or worship music too. I love to walk and listen to my worship music.
I love that. I know you've talked about this with me before. I mean, we became friends through Singular, and then our friendship has just sort of developed and deepened over time since we met. Tell me a little bit more about your mental health journey, specifically with Singular, because so many people that find our company find it for weight loss or wellness or gut health. And I mean, that was why I found it. I recently told my story here on the Celebrating Women podcast for the first time. But Staci, that wasn't your journey. You kind of found it for a different reason. So do you want to talk about kind of what happened with Chris, but also what happened with you?
Absolutely, girl. So yeah, whenever we found Singular, my husband, we were really struggling with his gut health, with his weight. And then, of course, that bleeds over to other areas in your life, right? So, I mean, whenever, I've said this before, like our marriage, whenever you have a spouse that doesn't feel confident and is miserable in his own skin, and he's trying things to help that, eating gluten-free, doing this, doing that, nothing's helping, you get frustrated. So, there'd be times that I wanted to go out and do stuff and he didn't. So that bled over into our marriage, right? And then for me, I really, like, mental health is something that depression does run in my family, and I recognize that. And I've really honestly been really good at handling it. And then though, whenever I lost my daddy in 2014 to cancer, that really threw me for a loop. Whew, it was hard. I mean, it was really hard. So I got on some medication, which, hey, there's a time and place for medicine. I'm not ever going to sit here and say, don't get on medicine if you need it. If you need it, by all means, do that. I did take a little bit of counseling, and I was able to work through that with the help of counseling a little bit. Not a lot. I mean, I only went a couple of times, but I just needed to talk to someone. I stayed on that medication. And then there came a time, girl, that I was literally at one of my good friend's funerals. She passed away of a blood clot. And I sat there and I didn't cry, Mandee. And I said, dang, like, I want to feel emotions. I don't want to be a basket case, but I want to feel emotions. Yeah. And so in comes Singular. Helped my husband. It was like, seriously, we had been praying for something. It helped him with his gut issues, his weight. I mean, he feels so much better. Yes, he's lost 40 pounds, kept it off for 5.5 years. But for me, I will say by day 3, Mandee, I felt like a fog had been lifted off of me. And, we know we have certain supplements that help with mental clarity and mood and stuff. And I was like, wow. So I was able to wean myself off of my medications. And that was something that, I had tried to do before and couldn't do. And that's okay. But I'm serious, like it just, and of course there's other factors too. Whenever your home life is better, you're not as naturally stressed, and Chris was happier. So it all kind of fit, like it just kind of all fit like a puzzle for us, and the pieces came together. And so that is a big thing that I am really big on. And, I still to this day, I will not miss, I don't miss any of my supplements, but for sure the ones that help me with my mental health, because at the end of the day, I mean, we all have stress, we all have stuff. And I just want to be the best person that I can be physically, mentally, emotionally, all of those things for my business, for being a homeschool mom, for my husband, for his, everything. So yeah, that's kind of been my mental health journey. Some people, it's something that they never struggle with, but I have recognized that in my family, it's something that we, it's just been not so much gifted to us, but it's something that we have. And so you just deal with it, and this helped me a lot.
I understand it runs in my family too. There's history of suicide in my family, and kind of along the same lines, diabetes runs in my family. And so at an early age, kind of like you, I recognized, okay, these things are present. Some of this is under my control. Some of this is not. What can I control? What can I change so that I can live a healthier life, when I'm in my 30s, 40s, 50s, and however long, I'm blessed to be here. I noticed some of it could be changed by nutrition because of the habits that my family had were leading us all to be overweight and some obese. And that's, diabetes comes from that a lot of times. And that was happening in my family. But the mental health struggles too. I mean, half my family was on some kind of medication, especially the women, to help with mood because they really struggled, especially right around the age that I am now. And so early on, I was looking at, okay, how do I make some small shifts and changes in habits when I'm young to prevent these things? And I think part of what I admire about you and what I wanted you to talk about today is the holistic approach that you're talking about. It's not one thing. It's not like I found this company and it magically changed my life. A lot of great things have happened, but because of decisions that you've made because you feel better, you're also looking at other things and building into it, right? So when you found Singular and you were struggling and then things started to get better, were you homeschooling at the time, or were you a kindergarten teacher at that time?
Yes, I was. And it's crazy, Mandy, because I actually started the products. It was the first week of my 7th year teaching. So, mind you, I had taught for, this is my 7th year. Like, I know how crazy it is, how busy it is the first week of school, first couple weeks, girl, especially kindergarten, because, some of those babies, bless their hearts, they had never been away from mom and dad. And now they're thrown with this strange woman for 8 hours out of the day. And they don't always, takes them a little bit to adjust, right?
And a bunch of strange kids, too.
Girl, yes. It's taxing. It's so it's exhausting. I started products that first week, and that's whenever, like I said, on about day 3, girl, I was coming home and I wasn't just plopping down on the couch. I had energy to actually cook a meal. My family already knew, girl, that first couple weeks of school, it was kind of fend for yourself for a crock pot meal around here or pizza in the oven because mama didn't have a dinner. Right? I was done, and I was cooking supper. And I would go, and me and Clay would, go ride on the Ranger and go look at the cows or go fishing or whatever in the evening, just spend time together. And that was huge for me. And so Clay was actually, whenever I started teaching, he started kindergarten. So that was really cool. And we were on that same schedule. He was literally right across the hall from me. And then that was August of 2018. So I'm going to say about 2 weeks in is whenever I said, my friend that helped me, I said, hey, I think I need to get my link because, I knew she had made a little bit of income off of me. And I was going to continue to order these products because they had answered so many prayers for us. And I was like, you know what? I have a few friends and family. We have something for everyone. Why not? Why not go to them and offer to help them with their struggles, whether that was their energy or their weight or their mood or their gut, whatever, or their income. So I did. And then I did build this business simultaneously while I was teaching, which you want to talk about time management, girl, we can talk about some time management with that because guess what? I couldn't sit on my phone a couple of hours out of the day or be on my computer or be doing calls because I was teaching. And so I totally had to fit this in the nooks and crannies of my life. I joke, Mandy, and I know you're going to laugh, but I toilet texted a lot.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I still do that, girl.
Uh-huh.
It's hey, I got 5 minutes. Let me hop in this chat or let me respond to this person with some information or whatever. And so I did. And then, of course, on my lunch breaks, I kind of had to prioritize a few things. I would go sit in my car and I would work my Singular business. That kind of trumped going and sitting in the teacher workroom. And, whether that was just gossiping or whatever, or I had to prioritize because I didn't have unlimited time. Right. And so I did that. And then on the way home, I would maybe do some calls. And then whenever I got home, I might fit in a thing or two, but, we were homework and, just trying to get ready for the next day, just a rat race. And so I did. I dug my heels in. I'm blessed with incredible mentors and leaders and people in this company, you being one of them, that are just great people, and I surrounded myself and I just poured my heart and soul into Singular and the community. And you guys have uplifted me, cheered each other on, supported all the things. And before I knew it, girl, it was that March. So it was spring break. I turned in my resignation that same year.
Wow.
I know, not even intending. That's how crazy and how good God is in our life. There I was just trying to help my husband, starting out my 7th year teaching, not knowing in, 8 or 9 months, I was going to actually leave that classroom and pursue this because I was still able to teach people. I'm a teacher at heart, but it was teaching them to live healthy lives and have extra income and just be the best version of themselves that they could be. And so it was just, I did. I walked away from my career. And then Clay, he stayed in school, though, for another, I'm going to say year or two, I'm thinking. And then there was just some things that were going on. And, we had prayed about it. We had talked about it, about homeschool, just because our lifestyle, Mandy, we we're
working the land.
We have our own stuff going. My husband doesn't leave and go to work for someone else. We work our own land. We work our own cows. We're self-sufficient in that way. And so it, and of course Clay wants to be a part of that too. And so anyway, just some things had taken place at school. And I said, you know what, it's time. And I literally went that day and I went and checked my kid out of school. And it was kind of crazy though, girl. I walked in and I said, I need Clay Rotello for checkout. And they're like, oh, it's, doctor, orthodontist. And I was like, no, ma'am, like checking out, like he's gone home. And they're like, what? And so anyway, it kind of took everyone by surprise. But again, it had been something we had been praying on. And Mandee, it has been the best decision for my family and I, just to have the freedom to, well, number one, it saved money because I'm not driving back and forth twice. So, it's like to school and pick it up or whatever. So that was great. But it's been a wonderful thing for us. We did find a wonderful curriculum that we do enjoy that is biblical based too. So, my kid can get exposed to that. And it's just been a wonderful thing for us. So now I haven't always homeschooled. And like Clay and I, we were, for 7 years, we, went to school together. And then I think for a year or two after, I can't remember exactly, he continued to go to public school. So,
yeah. Yep. But now you're able to do all the things. So talk a little bit about that. You talked about time management when you're working full time, but now that you have unlimited time, I have found sometimes I'm a better worker when I'm working in the nooks and crannies because I know I've got like 10 minutes and I have to get 3 things done. And so I'll knock them out and I won't overthink it. I'll just do. So how do you, in your lifestyle now where you're working from home, Clay is also at home, you've got Dietz, you've got, all the land and Chris working at home too, like there's plenty of distractions. You've got plenty of things that you could say, oh no, I need to go do this. How do you get it done?
Yeah, it's not always perfect, but we get it done. I will tell you that. So some things that I do for sure is now I will say, like whenever I did pull Clay out, I guess it was the middle of his 7th grade year. I did have someone come in, and thank you, Zingler, I could financially afford to do that and tutor him, and do that to where I didn't have to be there. Now, don't get me wrong, like I still would be a part of his, but I could she could be working with him while I was doing Zingler work.
You were working.
Yeah, exactly. So, and now though, since, he's a senior, it's pretty easy, honestly. Like, it's just like, hey, this is what you're going to do. This is what this week, we kind of do it like that. It's not like, because guess what, Mandy, like right now we are picking cotton. So my kid's like in the field, like he's doing what he has to be doing, but we can structure it in a way that he can still get his things done. I lay it out, yes, I check over it. We just kind of fit it. It's kind of crazy, but we fit that in the nooks and crannies of our life, just like I did working full time with Singular. And then, so I'll kind of have his stuff laid out. Like we have that done. And then like I time block, how like you just said, like if know I've got 10 minutes and I've got to get these things done, I time block and I prioritize every single day. Every day I have at the top of my list, what's most important down to what isn't so important, because otherwise you're like, you don't know where to turn. And then it's this, and then it's this, and it's this. And you would think doing this for 6 years that I would have like, oh, I know that. No, I still write it down, because if it's not in front of me, it's probably not going to happen. So that's a really big tip, is have it written down. And then I find it so satisfying to mark it off my list.
Yes.
There's just something about it, right?
Yep.
And so I do that. And then, I know we kind of talked about this before we went on air, but I did finally realize that, you know what, Staci can't do it all. And that's okay, because I know as women, we want to do it all. And there comes a time when you have to sit back and you have to say, okay, there's only one of me. Is there anything that I can afford financially to maybe take off my plate and let someone else handle? That way that frees me up for more income producing things, and honestly time freedom, because we want time freedom with this. So for 5.5 years I did not, but I hired myself an assistant. She's a wonderful person. She's actually on my team, so she knows the business already. And she does every day. She'll do certain mundane things for me that have to get done, but like someone else can do them for me. And then that frees up my time to where, guess what, I can go and I can work more with my team and my customers and check on people and honestly, like find more creative space in my business, because I can now, guess what, I can have time to go make that reel. I have time to do some reach outs. I have time to get on calls and celebrate and connect and help. because I'm not doing those things that someone else can do for me.
Right.
And financially, it has actually been smarter because my business has grown because I'm not having to take my time to do those things. And it's helped her too, because, like I said, she is a brand partner. And so her business has grown alongside, because guess what? She's not only doing that for me, but she's doing that for her own business too. Mm-hmm. So it has been such a blessing all the way around. So that helps me a lot. And then, I'm the kind of girl that my laundry is not going to get piled up. If I look in there and I see a pile of laundry, that just makes me have anxiety, and I really don't even have anxiety. But you know what I'm saying?
I do.
Like, oh,
it wears on me too.
It does. And so honestly, I do a load of laundry a day. Whatever pretty much my guys have wore that day, it's going to be hanging up in the closet either that night or by the next morning. That is just something that I have learned to do. And I find that if you do that, it's not a big deal. It's really not. And so that's been a huge thing for me. Same thing with my house. I have my little robot vacuum. It's going to go every day. But does that. Dishes, same thing. After we eat at night, guess what? It's going in the dishwasher. I'm not going to wake up to dirty sink, because that throws anxiety on me, and then it kind of sets me, and I just can't. So those are just silly little tips, though, that make a huge impact in your day.
Well, they do. And so what I love is you're talking about routines and habits, right? So you talked about your morning routine and your devotional and being active and listening to podcasts and staying positive. Now it sets you up to have those feelings and have those endorphins throughout the day as you're doing all of these other things. And I think you kind of touched on it a little bit with the dishes and maybe the laundry, but do you also have maybe a personal evening routine that sets you up for success the next day?
Yes and no on that. That's something that I will say is not solid for me, just because our evenings can be kind of crazy. Just because, for instance, last night, Chris and Clay, they didn't even get home till I'm going to say probably 9:30 or 10.
Really?
So we were eating supper. Yes, we were eating supper late. Whereas today, I went down before I did, we did this. I had to go and I brought him lunch in the field or whatever. And he only has 10 acres to pick because the other's not ready yet. So today, guess what? He might be home at 5. And so our evenings, which I love that, though, that again just is that flexibility, time, freedom aspect that I love of this. It's not we're tied down to every day from 8 to 5. No, it varies based on what we have going on, and we can,
adjust
work accordingly to that. And so, but I mean, I will say this too, though, and this is, you're probably like, I can't believe you just said that. But Staci is going to have at least one bath during her day. That is my jam. I will be so productive in the mornings, work out, do this, do that. And then of course I'll shower after workout, but then I'll get some work done, or we'll have some stuff going. And then probably I'm going to say about 3:30 or 4. That is my time. I go and I put my phone down, and it may only be 10 minutes, but that is my decompressed time.
I get it.
Guess what? And I just, and I crave it. I love it. And then I get out, and then I continue on with my busy evening, whatever that's going to look like. But I do try to set my clothes out. I will say this, for the next morning. I don't know why. It just sets me up for, okay, guess what? In the morning, that's what I'm going to go work out in, whether that's going to Hot Works and or walking, one or the other. And I just I crave that routine, though, because without it, I feel lost. Even whenever we go on trips, it's not the same. I love to travel. Thank you, Singular. I love all of that. But it's I almost after a few days, I'm okay, I really need to get back home and get in this routine, because I just feel off.
Yeah. It's disorienting to get out of a routine. It really is. Before COVID happened and a lot of changes happened in the world, I had a really solid routine similar to yours, where I would get up in the morning. I read Jesus Calling for the day. I would write my gratitude journal. I would write my goals down. Are you pulling out yours? Yeah, you've got yours. Yeah, I have the brown cover. You've got the teal. But I had 4 or 5 things that I would do every morning that were, things that took care of Mandee first. My spiritual well-being, my mental health, my nutritional well-being. I was also had a supplement routine. I was usually active in the mornings, very similar to yours. And then when the world changed, and also I moved, Aaron and I bought a new house, and we moved really just about 4 blocks away, but it was enough that it was disruptive. I have not been the same Mandee since.
It's crazy, right?
It's amazing.
Yes, girl. Yeah.
Yes. And so part of why I'm talking to you about this is I know I can't be alone in that.
No.
In feeling out of sync or out of routine and habits. And I've observed you because we have traveled together. I've observed your yearning to do that. I mean, I've traveled with you on a wine trip and we all still got up and worked out.
We did.
We did.
We did, girl.
We did. And I was not in the habit of doing that at the time. And so I was like, well, I guess if everybody else is doing it.
Hey, you know what?
No,
Your
it's
circle
good.
Matters, girl. Your
But
circle matters.
it does, because you know what happened 2 years later?
What's that?
I found a trainer and I got back in the gym. And actually today is 1 year of me being in the gym consistently, pretty consistently 3 days a week for a year. There have been travel and stuff, but yeah. So I'm working back towards it. So talking to you today, of course, I've admired and observed and appreciated you all of these years and appreciate your friendship. But it's also like a good reminder for me too, because there's things that I want to be better at again. Mm-hmm. So that's part of why I'm asking you these questions, and knowing that if I'm struggling, someone else is too, and that talking about it helps. It's helping me, but it's helping someone else too. So is there anything else that you want to add about routines or habits or mental health or anything that we've talked about, or something maybe that I haven't asked you that you just feel like God's laid this on my heart, I want to share it today?
You know, I will say that I recently have really made it a point to get out, like I said, from these walls, because even though, yes, I'm busy, but, you know, being Clay's mom and being, you know, going and helping Chris and doing this and that or whatever, like I have made it a point to, that's why, like I said, I'm doing the hot works thing, but and it's crazy how whenever you pray for these things, how you know how a lot of times God shows up with them if it's in his will. And so I actually have joined, it's called Inspired Women in Business, and they opened up a chapter here in my hometown. And so I've been in it probably a month. We meet once a week, every Thursday, and it has brought, gosh, so many great women, so many great clients. I've actually got a girl coming over to my house at 4:30 to do a facial on me. She's a Mary Kay girl. And I'm
fun.
Hey, guess what? Like, I want to support you. And I know she's going to support me. So immersing yourself, if you have an opportunity to get out and like meet new people and immerse yourself. And I'm not going to lie, Mandy, I felt like a fish out of water the first time I went to that first meeting, because I hadn't been like in the public in a long time. Like, don't get me wrong, Zingo. Girl,
but that's a safe space.
Like, yes.
You
like,
know that's a
like
safe space.
We're like sisters, right?
Yeah,
like, y'all are just my people. So whenever I had to get up in front of these all very successful businesswomen, I mean, from like real estate agents to like this girl that's with Mary Kay, you know, she's very, very successful, has the pink Cadillac, like very successful women. And then there's a life coach and just so many great inspirational people. I was a little nervous because, and you know, we had to get up and say what we did. And I was like, you know what, I'm different than all of you ladies. And this is how, and this is what I do and whatever. But me doing that, Mandy, has helped my mental health and my, like, so much. Like, I'm like finding more purpose in what I'm doing. And guess what? I'm turning around and I'm able to use the blessing of Singular to improve their lives too. So it's just been the coolest thing. So I do encourage, if you're listening to this and you're like, you know, y'all may not have that chapter there, but there are a lot of women groups that are in, you know, you get on Facebook and search, you know, for, you know, whatever your town is, you know, women support or this or that. Like, I promise you, you're going to find something. And if it's not for you, then that's okay. But at least give it a try, because I really wasn't sure. But I will say that I am so grateful that I did that, because now, I mean, I've got new friends, and like, we're going to do like these happy hour things, and we're going to network more. And it's honestly just given me more opportunity to share this blessing that I have while filling my cup at the same time.
Oh,
so that is one big tip that I would give.
Yes, I love that so much. I had a similar experience 2 years ago when I joined our local chapter of the Junior League. And it was so similar. I felt kind of like a fish out of water because I hadn't been around people in large groups in a really long time. But it was such a diverse and interesting group of women that were looking at it at the same time I was. So when we joined, I think we had like maybe 25 or 30 of us that were joining the same year. So we were all in a class together to learn about the organization. And they're some of my very best friends now. You know, I mean, outside of you guys, I mean, we're kind of talking about it. It's like a little singular bubble that we can get in sometimes.
Yeah.
And it's an awesome place to be. And also, more people can't join the bubble if we don't get out of it and go talk to them, right?
That's the whole thing right there. Like, we want our bubble to expand, but if we're only staying in our bubble, then we're not. You're exactly right.
Right. But I have found the same experience. It's having community, a community of women or a community of faith, whatever it is that where you feel like you're yearning for something, reach out, look for something. Yeah. If you don't know where to go, DM me. I'll help you find a place. Like, community is just such an important piece of that. And I'm so excited that you have that in your life now. That's wonderful.
Whenever the girl reached out to me, she's a super successful real estate agent. And she's like, you're actually one of the first people that I thought of, you know. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so honored. And so, yes, I'm very excited for it, Mandee. It's been good.
Well, good. Well, I love that you shared that. Is there anything else you want to share with that you want to close with today? Do you want to talk about maybe something new that's coming up in your life that you're excited about? Or do you want to wait and save that for another time?
Well, absolutely, I will, because I have to give you credit in so many ways for even inspiring me, Mandee, to do this. Seriously, like I said, who you hang around matters. And, you know, you're incredible on this podcast. You help so many people, and you're just inspiring. And so Staci Rotello is going to be launching her own podcast very soon. And alongside the help of you, thank you for everything. Literally, I told Mandee, I said, I've got it all sitting here on my desk. Now we got to figure out how to put this stuff to work. But
we'll do it.
I am called to share, because, you know, I do come from a space that, you know, from just the mental health aspect to being the busy mama, the busy wife, finding my own tips on juggling everything, tips on home-based businesses, tips on how to keep your family fed and, you know, while you're running around, and like just everything. And also eliminating limited beliefs, because as women, I've been there. I've limited my beliefs, and I'm like out of that space now. And it's so crazy, Mandee, because I can be talking to someone like within like 10 minutes, and like I can pick up on their vibe and they're like, if they're in that space or not. Like, it's so many, we talk bad to ourselves, and it's like, no, sister, we're not doing that. Like, we are not. Like, you be nice to your friend Mandee, you be nice to your friend Staci, right?
Yes.
So I've got a lot of great things that I'm excited to share about and launch my own podcast, and just hopefully be an inspiration to other people like you are with this.
Oh, I love you. You will be. And I can't wait when you do get launched and you've got some content out. I want you to come back so that we can announce it officially, and you can kind of share some of the things that you have up and going. But I'm so excited to help you with it. And I know you, so I know it will be successful, and I know you will inspire others.
Thank you so much, girl. I appreciate that. Means a lot coming from you.
Well, it's the truth. The Celebrating Women podcast wants to hear from you. Email us a voice message to celebratingwomenpodcast@gmail.com. We would love to hear your story or the story of an incredible woman you know. Become part of the conversation on social media. Facebook.com/celebratingwomenpodcast. On Instagram, search Celebrating Women Podcast. The Celebrating Women podcast has been presented by Hand & Stone Massage and Facial Spa in Tyler, Texas. Book your appointment today. Stop by the spa in Cumberland Shopping Center or online at handandstonetyler.com. Support the show for as little as $3 per month at celebratingwomenpodcast.buzzsprout.com or visit our show notes. Thank you for listening, and don't forget to subscribe to the Celebrating Women podcast. Hey guys, it's Mandee. Have you been struggling to lose those extra pounds? Oh, I know. I have totally been there. An extra, 15 to 20 pounds can totally creep up on you in perimenopause. Or at least it has with me. And I think I found it early. I hope it's not happening to you. But if it is, I've got the solution. You can lose up to 15 pounds in 8 days with an incredible product line that I found and I want to share with you. Get a custom product recommendation with a complimentary wellness screening in the show notes. Just click Zing with Mandee.